welcome to the EAL program at St Andrews. My name is Phil Sweeney and I am the EAL coordinator for primary. So today I just want to tell you a little bit about the EAL programs at St Andrews. So I'm going to go through some of the questions that parents ask when they first join St Andrews. How long will it take for my child to learn English? Well, a lot of that depends on their child's first language, how similar it is or how different it is from English. Also, how much English does the child already know? Are they starting from zero or do they have a little bit of English already? Thirdly, how much English are they exposed to outside of school through, for example, play dates with friends or reading or watching TV in English? To get from no English at all back into mainstream without support, we find that it usually takes about 1 year in EAL 1 and about 3 to 4 terms in EAL 2 and then another 2 or 3 terms in EAL 3. So you're looking at about 3 years before the child is getting to a proficient level of English where they won't need any further support. How does the program work? So we take in children of all abilities and we have 3 levels of EAL to support children no matter where they are. The first level is EAL 1. Children are withdrawn into small groups and focus on developing a foundation in English through learning common vocabulary and simple sentences. There are 4 English lessons per week and there is also a reading lesson, a phonics lesson or a spelling lesson too. Children also have support from a learning support assistant in maths, science and topic. So that learning support assistant will come and sit next to the child to help them access the lesson through using things like visuals and visual aids where the child can understand the instructions and understand the task a little bit better. EAL 2 is similar to EAL 1, but there is no in-class support for maths, science and topic. The children by that stage have enough English to be able to cope in class without that support. In the English lessons, children do similar sort of activities to what's happening in the mainstream, but they're far more supported. So for example, if in the mainstream they're studying about fantasy stories and they have to write a fantasy story, perhaps in the mainstream they will be adding personification, metaphorical language, similes. But in our support class, we'll be looking at perhaps the simpler aspects, such as adjectives, using adjectives to help develop the sentences. In Key Stage 2, there are also language lessons. Instead of learning another language, what we do is we take the children who need a little bit more EAL and we provide EAL lessons for them in that time. Will my child miss normal lessons and fall behind? The answer is no. Children are still in class for most subjects, such as maths, science and topic. If they're EAL 1, they'll have a learning support assistant helping them access the mainstream lessons. The only thing that we withdraw the children from is English, and this helps us focus on what they really need. So we'll cover all the things that mainstream class have learnt in previous years. We'll focus on those and teach those in the lesson so that they are prepared to go back into the mainstream. The main aim of all the EAL programs is to help children integrate back into mainstream English as soon as possible. Should they continue with a first language? The answer is yes. It's very important that a child develops their first language. Without developing that first language, the second language can't develop as well. So we recommend that children do join the first language programs. The first language programs also help children learn more about the topics that they will be learning in class. So if they're learning about rainforests in the mainstream, they will also learn about rainforests when being taught in their first language. That means when they go back into the mainstream in their topic lessons, they already have an idea of the content, so they're able to make links with what they've been taught in the first language and with the language that's being taught in the mainstream lesson. Is there an optimum age to start learning English? Well, the sooner the better. Research has shown that it can take up to 5 or 6 years for some children to become proficient speakers in English. So the earlier the child starts, the better. It's good that you're looking at joining St Andrews now in primary, because it will give the children the time they need to develop their English proficiency. What can we do to prepare our child for the program? So, if your child doesn't speak any English at all, it's really good to help give your child a little bit of English before they start. So, if you're planning to come in 3 or 4 months, make sure you start your child learning English straight away. Imagine coming to a new country, a new home, a new school, and also having a new language on top of that. It can be quite daunting for the children. And if they haven't got the language to be able to cope with it, it can be quite stressful at first. So, simple phrases such as, "Can I play with you? I don't understand. Can I go to the toilet, please?" All of those little phrases will help children when they first arrive. We will make sure that the children have all the support that they need when they first arrive, but if they can get any little bits of English before they start, it will help them enormously. When they do start, please try to encourage them to use English outside of the classroom too. So if you have play dates, for example, with friends who don't speak the same language, that's helpful. Also, please try to make sure your child reads as much as possible in English. Reading is a fantastic way to help children develop their language, and I would say it's probably the most important way too. So that can be you reading a book to your son or your daughter, or it could be the children reading a very easy book to you. The more you read, the more the children are exposed to the vocabulary and the grammar that they will be using in a day-to-day basis. So please make sure that you try to read as much as possible in English.